Hey guys, hope you're having a great day. My name is velvetaeil. Welcome back to another video on my channel. In today's video, I'm going to go through the discography of BTS from their first album Too Cool for School until their latest album B, and I'm going to rank their albums from my least favorite album until my most favorite album. As you can hear right now, this is my actual voice. If this is the first video that you watch from my channel, this is actually the first time that I show my voice. Until the last video in my channel, I am going to do all of my videos with my voice. I really hope you like it. And yeah, let's get into it. Before we start this video, I just want to clarify a couple of stuff. Going through the discography of BTS, it was really hard for me to choose which is the worst album of BTS and which is the best one. Because BTS is a unique talent. And every album that BTS has ever released is completely different from the other, because in their albums they managed to brought a new different sound, a new different vibe, a new different concept as a whole. Keep in mind also that BTS, through their 7 years as a group, BTS haven't really come up with a completely awful album. And if I had the chance to retitle my video to make it more accurate, I will go through the discography of BTS and I will rank each of their albums from good to mind-blowing. And now guys, let's start the video, shall we? In my opinion, I do think that Too Cool for School is one of BTS's weakest release, and for a lot of reasons. Because this album is full of skits and interludes that none of the singers or the rappers are participating in it. They are just instrumentals, and I don't think they add too much to the quality of this project. Second of all, because I don't think that the production on this album is really that interesting for me. Except for We Are Bulletproof Part 2, and I like it, I don't think that the production on this album is that special to be remembered. But I actually do admit that No More Dream and We Are Bulletproof Part 2 are one of BTS's most iconic songs of all time. Favorite tracks on this thing are We Are Bulletproof Part 2 and I Like It. Everybody say no! One of the reasons I do think that Are You Late 2 is pretty much an interesting project for BTS is because at that time BTS were going through a phase where the rappers are participating in the songs more than the actual singers. But the reason why I put this album this low is because it's pretty much forgettable. But on top of that, I do think that this album has a lot of good songs and it's not completely awful. But it's not that kind of project that blowed my mind away and made me amazed by it. I just think that it's a very okay project, but I don't think I can put it in a higher ranking. Favorite tracks on this EP are No, We On, Outro Love in School, Coffee, Cypher Part 1, and Attack on Bangtan. The next album in this list is The Most Beautiful Moment in Life Part 1. And I do think that The Most Beautiful Moment in Life Part 1 has pretty much a lot of significance in BTS's career. Because this album got their first win at Melon Music Awards for I Need You. Overall, I do think that this album is pretty great. I really love it. My favorite tracks on this thing are I Need You, Hold Me Tight, Dope, Boys with Fun, Love Is Not Over, and Moving On. Next up we have Love Yourself, Her. This is the start of one of their most iconic trilogies of all time, Love Yourself. And also this is the same album that contained their first hit at America DNA. And also by that album, BTS managed to get into America by doing a lot of interviews there, attending a lot of music shows in America like Billboard Music Awards, etc. Overall, I do think that this project is pretty amazing. It has a lot of great songs. My favorite tracks on this thing are Serendipity, Dimple, Pied Piper, McDrop, Go Go, Outer Her, and See. Next up in our list we have Map of the Soul 7. Before I start review this album, I just want to clarify something, that I am not going to review Map of the Soul Persona and Map of the Soul 7. The reason why is because the tracks that are in Map of the Soul Persona are already in Map of the Soul 7, so I thought it would be very unnecessary to review them both separately. As much as I think that Map of the Soul 7 is a pretty good record, but I do think that it has a lot of problems. First of all, the lack of diversity in the songs. Because 80% of the songs that are in this album have the same happy vibe, which is kind of a thing that made the album less enjoyable. The second problem is the large amount of songs. Even though this album feels pretty enjoyable and upbeat and happy, but at the same time it feels like there is too much BTS in it. And I really felt like BTS should have split this album into 3 parts: Map of the Soul Persona, Map of the Soul Shadow, and Map of the Soul Ego. If they actually did this at the beginning, I feel like I can feel the song even a lot better. Overall, I really think that this album was pretty okay, but I feel like BTS is capable of doing a lot better than this one. My favorite tracks in this album are Jamais Vu, Filter, Interlude Shadow, My Time, OK, Moon, Inner Child, and Zero Clock. In my opinion, I do think that Dark and Wild is pretty much a perfect project from BTS because all of the songs on this one are pretty great. The only problem that I have with this album is that a lot of the songs in it, especially at the second half, didn't really respect the aesthetic and the dark concept of it. But overall, I do think that this album is pretty great. It has a lot of great songs. My favorite tracks in it are What Am I to You, Danger, Hip Hop Lover, Let Me Know, Rain, Cypher Part 3 Killer, and Does That Make Sense, and Second Grade. Next up we have B, which is an album that was released the same year Map of the Soul 7 was released. And I honestly feel like this album is not a completed BTS project. Like, this album doesn't have a main theme just like their previous albums like The Most Beautiful Moment in Life or Love Yourself or even Map of the Soul. And I can see why, because BTS released this album so they can show their support to their fans during COVID-19, and we can actually see that in a lot of lyrics in this album, especially at their title track, Life Goes On. And I actually think that this is a pretty good move from BTS. And in my opinion, I do think that this album felt like a breath of fresh air because of Map of the Soul 7. Because it didn't feel like it was overblown, overproduced. And plus, the amount of happiness in this album is pretty much consistent. Overall, I do think that B was pretty much an amazing album. I really love it. My favorite tracks in it are Stay, Blue and Grey, Fly to My Room, and Disease. Next up, we have School Love Affair. I really do think that School Love Affair is one of BTS's classics. And the reason why I'm saying this is because this album contains one of their most iconic songs of all time, Boy in Love. And also, this EP was released at a time where BTS still have that hip-hop elements in their songs. They were known by being a band that mixes hip-hop with pop and some R&B in their songs. And that's what made them so special at that time. And what makes this EP so special for me is that it really aged very well. Like, a lot of songs in this EP feels like they got released today, and that's what makes them so special for me. And I just think that this EP is an amazing record from BTS. My favorite tracks in this album are Intro School Love Affair, Boy in Love, Just One Day, Tomorrow, Cypher Part 2, and Outro, Propose. Next up, we have one of the most iconic albums in BTS's discography, The Most Beautiful Moment in Life, Part 2. I really feel like The Most Beautiful Moment in Life Part 2 is one of BTS's most ambitious records of all time. And also, this album has a lot of significance in BTS's discography. The reason why I'm saying this is because this album contains their third hit, which is Run. And also, this album features one of their most iconic songs, Butterfly and House of Cards. Overall, I think this album is one of the most perfect albums that BTS has ever released. My favorite tracks in it are Nevermind, Butterfly, Run, Silver Spoon, and House of Cards. Love Yourself Tear is honestly one of my personal favorite BTS albums of all time. I really think that this album is so perfect that I really wished I became a fan of BTS at the era of Love Yourself Tear. Because at that time, BTS was starting to be more popular in the US. One of the things I really love about this album is the dark atmosphere in it. And we can actually see that dark feeling in a lot of tracks like Singularity, Fake Love, The Truth Untold, and Outro Tear. And I also love the diversity in this album. We got tracks like Paradise, Love Maze, Pluto, which is kinda have a bright feeling. Overall, I think this album is one of my favorite BTS albums of all time, and I just think that this is one of their best albums in their discography. Next up, we end our list with one of the best albums that BTS has ever released, Wings. As much as I love Love Yourself Tears so much, but I don't think it will ever reach the level of Wings. This is one of the BTS albums where I'm not annoyed by the fact that the rappers didn't rap too much in this album, or by the fact that we did not get too much OT7 songs in it. One of the things that really made me love this album is the solo tracks. Except for Mama, the members managed to bring up a very dark, edgy, atmospheric vibe in their solo tracks. We got tracks like Lie, Stigma, Awake, Intro, Boy Meets Evil. They have that elegant vibe in it, but the difference between the intro and Lie and Stigma and Awake is that the intro managed to mix that elegant feeling with some EDM elements, especially at the hook. And we also got songs like Begin and Reflection. These tracks managed to execute the atmospheric, spacey, dramatic vibe perfectly. We also got a track like First Love, which is a ballad that is mixed with orchestral vibe with it. I really think that the solo tracks in this album are one of the best solo tracks that I've ever heard in a BTS album. Because I really do think that the solo tracks really had a unique vibe in it, which even made me enjoy them even more. And we also got tracks like 21st Century Girl, Am I Wrong, Interlude Wings, 2-3. Even though they don't fit the aesthetic of this album, but I kinda feel like they kick out the vibe of it. I really feel like BTS took an incredible risk with this album. They managed to try out new things which really suited them so well, and plus this is one of their most strongest releases ever. I really don't have favorite tracks in this one because I like the entire album, and this is the best album that BTS has ever released. And what about you? What do you think is the best BTS album, and what do you think is the worst one? Comment down below if you have an answer. And thank you so much for watching this video, and before we end it, I just want to give a quick shout out to SinB Ssi because this video is a collaboration with her. She made a video with the same concept but she ranked twice albums. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much and see you later. Goodbye.